It is officially time for me to share with you guys all of the books that are on my spring TBR. I have a stack of 5 books here that I hope to read within the next month and a half, really. I almost put like 5 more books on this stack. I almost doubled the stack because there's so many good books that I want to read right now, but I brought it down to these 5 and I'm very excited to share with you guys and talk about them with you guys. The very first book that I want to read this spring, and it's actually a book that I already started. This is the 4th book in the Dream Harbor series by Lori Gilmore. I have been loving reading the books as they've been coming out. I've never done that with the series before. Like usually the series is already out, but for the first time I've actually been reading the books as they've been releasing, and this one was released in late March. I read the author's note and it's honestly so freaking adorable. It talks about how she hopes that this book feels like the first day of like a sunny day after a long winter. Spring is all about fresh beginnings, so what better time to fall in love? I hope this book feels like that first sunny day after a long winter, or maybe even like that first kiss after a long flirtation. It sounds so freaking cute, and so when I read that I knew that I had to pick it up in April because the author intended for you to read it during spring, so why not? I had no idea what this book was about before I started picking it up, and that's honestly what I love to do with books. So I had no idea that this book was a single dad nanny trope, and I love that trope so much. I've only read one other book with that trope and it was Heartless, and it was actually a 5-star read for me, so I do have pretty high hopes. The trope just pulls on my heartstrings. I am thoroughly enjoying it, and I hope to finish it within like the next couple of days because her books, Lori Gilmore's books, are bingeable, fast-paced, and just a good old fluffy romance, and this book is literally screaming spring. So when is a better time to read it than right now? Also, I gotta say that our MMC is a chef. I also love books that have the MMC as a chef. The other book that I read that was like that was The 7-Year Slip, and that is also one of my favorite romance books. So I have read books with these tropes before, but they exceeded my expectation, and I love those tropes in those books. So all of those good things in one, I'm so excited to see where this book will go. The next book isn't a spring book, but I bought both of these books at my last Barnes & Noble trip, and I made a video if you want to go watch it. But this isn't screaming spring, but because I recently bought it, I want to make sure that I read it relatively soon, because this is what I do. I buy books and then I don't read them for literally months, sometimes years later. And so this year I was like, okay, if I'm going to be buying a book, I want to read it relatively soon after I buy it. So I literally have this borrowed on the Libby app already. Like, I'm ready to read it, and the book just sounds so good. Obviously that's why I bought it, but it's not giving spring. But I feel like I gotta change up the books that are on my immediate TBR and change up the genres, because if they're all fluffy romance books, I'm gonna put myself in a reading slump. This one is The Last Murder at the End of the World. This is by Stuart Turton. He is the same author of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I've heard really good things about that book. I hope to pick that book up during like the fall time, because it definitely gives off those vibes. So it says that there is 122 villagers and 3 scientists on this island, and the reason that they're on this island is because there's this mist that pretty much killed the rest of the world. And one day they wake up and one of the scientists is killed, and no one knows who did it because the day before all their memory was wiped. So honestly, we could be following a character that has no idea that they are the murderer. You kind of don't know who to trust, and you kind of are skeptical of every single character, and that's exactly what the other book gives off. So it says the villagers live in harmony until one day that they wake up and one of the scientists are dead. And as they're trying to figure out who killed the scientists, at the same time, the mist that has wiped out pretty much the entire human population is coming closer to the island. So it sounds like it's going to be really fast-paced. I'm very excited to pick this book up. The next book that I have on my spring TBR is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This cover as well is so beautiful. I saw people talk about like people are really lazy with making their covers. They just put flowers and call it a day. I'm a sucker for flowers on covers though. I know that it's not like artwork, but to me it is, you know what I mean? but I think the cover is so cute. It's purple, there's flowers, I love it. This book is the third book in the Knockmount series. When I tell you, I seriously have been taking my sweet time reading the series. At this point, I think I've read a book from the series. There's only 3 books. A book a year, and so it's been like 3+ years since I've been reading the series, and for whatever reason I'm just taking my sweet time, and it has nothing to do with the books themselves. If anything, Lucy Score's writing is so fast-paced. A book can be so big and like so many pages, but the book can go by like that, and that's exactly what Lucy Score's writing is like for me. This book is almost 600 pages and it's a romance book. Like, how much can you say in a romance book that can take up that many pages? But when you start to read a Lucy Score book, it literally flies by. From my memory with the last 2 books, I will pick it up, I'll be at 100 pages. The next time that I look to see what page I'm on 150. Like, literally 50 pages will go by like that, and I love it. It says, there was only one woman who could set me free, but I would rather set myself on fire than ask Sloane Walton for anything. My memory from Lucy and from the other books is that he is this very professional, quiet, stern, grumpy man who's like always wearing a suit, but he is best friends with the 2 male main characters from the 2 other books. And then Sloane is one of the friends, or just I think like a family friend from the town and to the brothers, and so they always are crossing paths because they're friends with the same people. Something happened between the 2 of them. We pick up on it through the first 2 books, but we have no idea what happened, or I think maybe we got a little taste of it in the second book. Whatever it was, when I finished reading Things We Hide from the Light, I was like, I want to pick this book up immediately after. Like, I don't want to wait, I want to know what happens. And a whole year has gone by. Yeah, that tends to happen when there's just so many books that you want to read. Books end up getting pushed behind. With all that being said, I will be picking this book up this spring, and I'm very excited to read it. Now to the 4th book. This is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I seriously have to give a moment for this cover. It is absolutely stunning. Look at those edges. It has like this golden hour hue over the entire book. And the moment that I saw this book on my TikTok, I went and bought it that same day. I ended up picking it up when I recently had bought it. I think it was like early fall, and it was giving off like spring, sunny, summer days. So I ended up softy and effing it. And now that it's that time of the year again, I know that I want to pick it up. This is also making me think of one of my most favorite books that I've read this year, which is The House in the Cerulean Sea. The garden that's in that book, this is what I pictured. Not that this book is gonna be anything like The House in the Cerulean Sea, but because this is what I imagined in that book, and I love that book, I'm like, okay, I have really high hopes for this one, even more than I already did. This was a good place with kind people who cared about each other. There was a unicorn in the woods, mermaids in the coves, and the best raspberries she's ever tasted. And then there was Lauren, or Laren. It mentioned raspberries. Like, that is giving spring vibes. It says, a lush cottagecore tale full of stolen spell books, unexpected friendships, sweet jams, and even sweeter love. Because I'm very curious as to what this genre is, I searched it up. So, romantic, fantasy fiction, romance novel. Oh, so it just says it's romance, but she built a fantasy world based on the cottagecore aesthetic that celebrates simple living, particularly in the countryside. Oh my gosh, this book's, I immediately thought of step 4 with that. Should probably eat this book up. The last book that is on my spring TBR is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Since joining Bookstagram, I have heard so many people talk about how good Abby Jimenez books are. Yours Truly, Part of Your World, Just for the Summer, and now her newest book. Just so many people rave about Abby Jimenez's writing. They make them cry. They just pull on their heartstrings. They're like 5-star reads, like favorite books ever. And when you have just so many people saying how good a book is, it makes you that much more excited to pick a book up. It's very fitting that I'm talking about this right now because I literally want to pick this book up now. I'm so excited to finally read an Abby Jimenez book, and I do not want to waste more time without having read one of her books. And Not that this is necessarily like screaming spring, but I want to read it ASAP, and I just knew that I had to mention this book. If you have read this book, please comment down below and tell me, because it's just gonna make me that much more excited. And honestly, all of the books that I talked about, if you have read them and you loved them, I would love to hear your opinions on them. I've never even read the synopsis on this one, and I just want to keep it that way. I feel like knowing that it's two worlds colliding into one, that's all I want to know. I don't know if I've necessarily heard people say they've cried about this one too, but I know that her books are more emotional and aren't a fluffy, just easygoing book. Like, I know that this one's going to, I think there's a lot of talk about mental health too, but I know that it's going to be more on the emotional side, and I'm very excited about it, because even though I already have 2 other romance books on my spring TBR, I still feel like this one is going to be different. I mean, they're all going to be different in their own ways regardless, but because it has more of a mental health talk, I feel like it's going to separate the romance books I'm going to be reading, and I'm very excited. I'm so excited to read this one. Like I said, if you have read any of these books and you have loved them, please comment down below, or comment down below what books are on your spring TBR. I would love to know. That is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you got some book recommendations on here. That's going to be it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.